Can I share something with you? You would think that the only place that you would have racial hatred that would emanate into or end up in the shooting or hanging or the lynching or mistreating or brutality against a black man, it would only happen in the southern states where they want to take down the Dixie flag and the statues of Robert E. Lee and change the name of the forts, right? You would think, well, that's where it's at, so let's go down there. Can I share something with you? And I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further. Can I share something with you that right here in the state of New York, come on, let's take it home. Let's put it out where you can get it. Right here in the city of New York, there has been per capita more alleged police brutality and killings of black men in New York than there have been in Mississippi or in Georgia or Louisiana or South Carolina. There have been more racially charged alleged police brutality. Let me name one. We'll go Eric Garner most recently, right? Remember him? We'll go back to several years ago to a place called Brooklyn, New York precinct. And let's talk about a fellow by the name of Abner Louima. Arrested by some white boys, white cops, right? Took him in the bathroom and took a plunger that you use with a wooden handle on it that you use to make the toilet go down when sometimes it gets stopped up. They stuck that plunger up his rectum time and time and time again. These are two freaky cops. They were freaky cops in the precinct. Tore that man's total intestine, had to have a new set of intestines. Abner Louima, right here in Brooklyn, New York. That's what they did to him. So we got Eric Garner. A few years after that, we had a fellow by the name of Amadou Diallo. Amadou Diallo, right? His mother cried, Amadou, up in the Bronx, on the west side of the Bronx, going into his apartment at one night, and there was a group of police officers that was just recently disbanded. Sabbath sent me a report about some 600 police officers that patrol the streets at night in plain clothes, plain cars, no badge, don't show nothing. They'll jump out of a car, whoop your head in New York City and get back. Don't make no arrest reports, don't report to the desk sergeant. They do whatever and their motto of Sabbath, of this group that you sent me, their motto is, we own the night. Several of these police officers accosted Amadou Diallo going into his apartment up in the Bronx one night, and they all jumped out the car thinking he was somebody else and told him to halt, and he had a cell phone. They said he reached for it. I don't believe it. They opened up fire. They hit that boy 41 times into Amadou Diallo. We're talking about New York. We ain't talking about Mississippi. We ain't talking about Tennessee. We ain't talking about Louisiana, Georgia. We talking about right here in New York. We're talking about, so if you're going to talk about that, and then of course we had Sean Bell, remember him, the nightclub out there in Queens? Popo rolled up out there and sprayed him full of butter, Sean Bell. Then you got Michael Griffin. This goes back even 30 years ago. Michael Griffin, 35 years ago, out in Howard Beach, right? Crossing a bunch of young white boys in Howard Beach. And by the way, we were out there in Canarsie the other day, near Howard Beach. Caught this young black boy out there, Michael Griffin, and with baseball bats and axes ran him out into the traffic on the Belt Parkway, and he killed himself. This is in New York. This ain't in Mississippi. This is in New York City. This ain't even in Washington, D.C. This is New York City. Well, Michael Griffin. And then, of course, we had Sean Bell. Then you got Eric Garner, and there are others that have been killed right here in New York City. So now check this out. That if the South is the place where allegedly racism happens, why is it that you got more deaths of black men in New York City per capita than you have any other place on planet Earth? by police brutality, right? So it isn't the South. It isn't the Confederate flag. You would think where the Confederate flag or the statues of Robert E. Lee were held, that would be the place where the sentiments against blacks would be most egregious, and that's where but no, it's here in liberal New York, LGBTQ, New York City, NAACP Shopton, New York City. It's where you got more deaths of black men than any other place on the planet in terms of police brutality. Go figure, right? So something in this wash ain't clean. Something about this ain't right. So certainly being in the North does not save you from police brutality, or racism. The absence of a Confederate flag not flying anywhere in New York does not save you from racism or from death. No, it does not. No, so it ain't the flag, it's the people. And it ain't the Southern people, it's the Northern people, the ones you got to watch. It's the one that smile in your face and stab you in your back. Those are in the North that you got to watch. So I'm against this move. I think it's wrong. I'm against it. I have nothing against the Confederate flag. Let them fly. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.